Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles podcast. I am Chess. I'm here with Rob and Donald. And yesterday, start with Cole and trying to figure out why he's been having these innings where he just completely implodes and just gets shelled for runs. A lot of home runs being given up, and he just looks just lost. And what happened is, then you'll have 5 innings where they can't touch him, and he'll have no base runners, limit his walks, swings and misses. What can you know? Did you notice anything of why he has these issues?
It's not locating his fastball. He's not throwing it up in the zone. There's actually a really good thread on Twitter that just puts all this into perspective. I'm not trying to excuse him because you should be getting guys out all game. You shouldn't be giving up 6 runs in an inning. But he's not throwing the fastball up in the zone, and that's where he's been most effective. Because if you're trying to hit 100 miles an hour up in the zone, good luck. But when you're throwing that thing middle, you're going to get tagged. And we've seen that this year where he has one really bad inning, and that takes away from everything because he was excellent the rest of the way through, which is annoying. That's why I'm so annoyed. Like you said, he's untouchable from the second inning through the 6th. And you're like, how did you give up 6 runs in the first? Was he tipping his pitches? He might have been. And if the fact that the Tigers caught up to the Mariners caught up to that quickly, that's alarming. But if his fastball is middle and not up in the zone, that's where it's at its best. He's going to get tagged, and eventually he's going to get figured out, whether it's in the first inning or his last start. The defense didn't help him out. He still gave up 5 runs, and you can't be doing that when you're getting paid $36 million. You have to find other ways to get guys out. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. There is evidence to support why he's struggling like this, but he needs to be better because if we want to win this thing, he needs to be an ace. And right now, if we put that Garrett Cole out in game 1 of a division series, he's getting shelled, and we're down 1-0 in the series. So he needs to be better. It's on him. It's on him. Stop having Higgy catch him because the statistics show he's terrible with Higgy catching him this year, and he's really good with Trevino. But what did we do yesterday? Put Higgy because it's a day game after a night game, even though we're off today. I can go on for hours. Cole is very, very frustrating because 1 inning he's terrible. The next 5 he's ace. So give us that, please, because if he doesn't fix it, we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, with the off day, the lineup was a big question mark. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Donald, your thoughts on Cole? Was there anything?
Same against Baltimore, where for the first 4 or 5 innings he was great, and then he fell apart for 1 inning. It's I can't work it out. I cannot work it out. With obviously he isn't locating his fastball, but it is very odd that he's great for 5 innings and then falls apart.
No, it was really it was very confusing because you're watching and his pitches in the first inning were just so flat. They had no movement. It was just batting practice for these guys. And not that Seattle's a bad team. They are putting together a year that nobody really saw coming, and it's good for them. But what is bad for us, it's just amplified just that much more because we're supposed to be able to handle these teams easily, not the other way around. And that's the frustrating part is we've kind of flatlined a little bit in the middle of the season where we're just not executing these games the way that we're supposed to.
Well, you fall behind 6-0 against Castillo when you're sitting your best player. You're basically, at that point, you could have just left if you were at the stadium because Castillo's that damn good and we're not hitting him. We're not coming back from 6-0. And that's what frustrates me even more is because Garrett Cole, this is the kind of game that you need him to be an ace. I know Seattle's offense isn't that great, but you need to match Castillo. You got to go inning for inning, pitch for pitch with him. It should have been either a 3-2 Mariners win or 3-2 Yankees win, something along those lines. It should have been low scoring, and whoever got the better of the bullpen was going to get the win. That you can kind of tip your cap to and be like, oh, 2 good pitchers went at it, and it was just who got the big hit late. But you give up 6 in the first inning, you can kiss the win goodbye because you're not hitting Castillo. You're not getting to Castillo the way they got to Cole because Castillo doesn't blow up like that, at least not this year. Cole's done that on 6 occasions now where he's given up just a terrible inning. So I can't defend him no more. It's on him. Go fix it because you're getting paid to be the freaking ace. Fix it. Stop making excuses for the guy.
Well, even though that we call him an ace, I think when you look at the way that his last few outings have gone, there's a lot of fans that have that sentiment that the ace status doesn't apply to him anymore. He's just our number one pitcher, and I kind of see where they're coming from because when you have your number one ace, that's your shutdown pitcher, where you could just you peek at the box score, you know what's going to happen. You know that the offense on the opposing team is going to be shut down when he's on the mound. We don't have that right now. And I think that's really concerning, not to a panic level, but it's really concerning that if this was game 1 in the postseason, it's amplified that much more.
He hasn't been shut down for about 4 straight outings now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
His numbers are really not good. I was tipping him to be a Cy Young candidate this year. That's finished. There's no chance of that now. It's and to be honest, this Yankee team has been retreating back to the mean for basically since end of June. We've basically been playing 500 ball or around 500 since then. So we can just be thankful that we had such a hot start because the team that we were all kind of expecting has now shown up.
Yeah, and we have hopefully in the next series we'll be able to see more of the guys we acquired at the deadline make an impact on this team. The other guy that's really been struggling on the offensive side is Benintendi. I think he's 1-17 since he came over. That's not what we traded for.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, but I really think that it really plays a factor in the way that he's being used right now. Using him in the middle of the order basically takes away his greatest strength. He's an on-base guy. He's a guy. He's a contact hitter, about 320, at the top of the order. And we're playing him in the 5-6 hole around Donaldson and Hicks. I mean, it's he's got no protection, and I don't think he's getting the quality of pitches to hit. Hence the 8 walks that he's already had this year. And yeah, he's chased a couple of bad pitches for strikeouts, which is unlike him. But I think a lot of it is to do with the way Boone's using him. I completely disagree with using him in the 6th hole. I think he should be batting first or second, and you'll be seeing a much better Benintendi because it makes such a difference. Because I was arguing on Twitter about this. It doesn't matter where you hit him, he should be hitting and stuff. And I says, no, that's not necessarily true.
No, not always.
If you've got Judge backing up DJ and Rizzo backing up Judge, then obviously you're going to get better quality pitches to hit. But if you're, for instance, Benintendi and you've got Hicks after him, then you're not necessarily going to get the quality of pitches that you would normally get because you can work around him and get to Hicks or IKF or the bottom part of the order or Higashioka. The second half of our order has no power in it. There's zero power in the second half of our order. And I think that Boone's actually making it worse with the fact that he's adding Benintendi to that because he's got no power either. So he needs to amend that lineup. He really does. Rob, What do you think about that? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yesterday was a perfect opportunity. He batted him leadoff in the first game, and when we got him, and then he put him 5th. Yesterday was the perfect time to do it because you had Judge sitting, but he put Rizzo in the leadoff spot, and he put Benintendi in the RBI spot. Rizzo's your second best RBI guy with Stanton out. Why are you leading off with Rizzo?
I don't understand.
Yeah, the lineup was just a mess yesterday.
And then he batted LeMahieu second. Like that would have been the perfect time to let's see Benintendi, LeMahieu 1-2. or LeMahieu, Benintendi 1-2. Let's see what it can do for you. And then when Judge is playing, which I don't know why he was sitting yesterday, but when you have Judge in there, you can bat Judge third. But I get why they want Judge batting second. So just flip LeMahieu and Benintendi in the order, because LeMahieu is much better in terms of power and RBI production than Benintendi. And right now, Andrew Benintendi, you know who he's been? Joey Gallo. He's literally Joey Gallo right now, minus power. And no one wants to really say it, but that's what for the first two series, that's what he's been. Strikeouts or walks. He's not doing anything else, and good defense. So you're putting him in a position to fail because, like you just mentioned, Donald, you got who in front of him? Josh Donaldson, who's got 1 home run in the last, 2 months? Ooh, good for him. And then behind him is Aaron Hicks, who's gotten into a cold streak again. He was good for 2 months or a month and a half, and here he is back to May Aaron Hicks.
1 for 25, I believe.
Yeah, which is why I was so adamant about getting another bat at the deadline. We can't keep playing Aaron Hicks because he's not an everyday player. He's going to eventually regress, and here we are again. He's regressing, and now you put Benintendi, who's not hitting right now, in an RBI spot. You're just setting the lineup up to fail, especially we're seeing what happens when you take Judge out of the lineup.
Yeah, why did they sit Judge at home? Shouldn't they be sitting him in a road game? Because it's a slap in the face of the 44,000 paying customers who want to see Aaron Judge. If he's healthy, they should not be sitting Aaron Judge in a home game.
With a day off.
He's sitting Aaron Judge with an off day behind it is what I'm questioning, especially that you've been in such they've been so mediocre lately. It's not like a month and a half ago where they were riding high. We wouldn't be putting so much thought into they're on the stretch. You want to give them that extra, that back-to-back day off. We wouldn't have questioned it. Now you're going against a team's ace. That's what Seattle, that's what Castillo is for Seattle now. You put your best lineup out because you want to win. We always amplify. You're not going to win every game, but do your best to win every series. Boone did not do his best to win that series yesterday. In that rubber match, the lineup should have been Benintendi, LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, then maybe Torres should have been your 5.
Yeah.
Because if you have all of those in the top of your lineup, you just need to skirt through the bottom. And we've seen, not that they can't do it. One, Hicks should be. I'd put him as low as the 8th. I wouldn't put him in the 9th. I would actually like IKF in the 9 hole. I like having him as an at bat to turn the lineup over.
That's fine. Yeah.
So then you just have Donaldson in between, who might run into one.
Aaron Hicks is so much better in the 7 hole. It's like statistically proven this year. And we've batted him lately because of Stanton being out. He's been batting 7th mostly, but you see him bat 6th, you'll see him bat 8th. Yeah. He shouldn't be playing every day is the main thing. And Aaron Judge DH'd the day before, so he basically had 3 days off from playing the field. Yeah. You could have had him sit the first game against the Cardinals. If you really wanted to give him 2 days off, it made no sense. Against Castillo to sit him.
Exactly. That's what pissed me off.
And the deciding game of the series, also be against the A's, and C. You also have to think about the Yankee Stadium fans, man. That's a lot of money to be paying to not see your best player pitch. I'm telling you, every fan wants to see Aaron Judge chase 62, or 61, 62. And he should be getting every opportunity at home. And if you need to rest him in a National League game on the road, fine. But I'm sorry, not at home. You don't do that to your fans. You really don't. It's not fair on them.
Could have DH'd him 2 days in a row for all I care. I don't know why they had to sit him completely. You could have went Benintendi, Hicks, Carpenter in the outfield and still DH Judge. There's no need for Donaldson to play again. Why? Because he had a home run the day before. He's getting hot. No, 1 hit and then 37 at bats, whatever it's been. He's getting hot. No, sit him. It just made no sense.
We're seeing far too much of Josh Donaldson. Far
playing every single day.
He is.
he's not sitting, and he's been terrible. But Aaron Judge has to get 2 days off essentially. I don't think he wanted it, unless there's an injury that we don't know about, and it's one of those. Oh, he's dealing with a nagging foot for all I know. Who knows? They always make stuff up when they sit him. His lower half was a little bit in pain the last time is what they said. So they probably will come up with some excuse. But why he's not there? Because at full strength, when we get Stanton back, there's not a lot of weaknesses. I mean, IKF's been hitting for a contact hitter. He's been hitting, and Trevino is getting hot again.
Yep. Yeah, the day game, night game with the catcher is, although it's been a practice that's been in place for so long, we don't even think about it anymore. We already can plan that. We already know that's going to happen. But could you imagine back, in the 80s, even in the 80s, telling some of those guys you can't, in the 70s, but you can't catch tomorrow because the sun's going to be up. It's just ridiculous. Like,
I don't know. I mean, listen, you had a really good platoon with Posada and Girardi.
Yeah,
for a long time, and then Posada and Flaherty, and it's not unheard of to have two very good catchers that you platoon one and after a night game, a day game after a night game. That's not really my issue. I think it's the fact that Higashioka's been really bad. If you had the Higashioka of last year, then this wouldn't be a topic of conversation. We're just having a really bad backup catcher now. I don't know why Higashioka's been this bad. So it's not really the fact that it's a day game after a night game. Remember, the strain on someone on a catcher's knees is significant for 5 straight days. You don't do that. You never did that in the 90s even. So that's not an issue for me. It's just that Higashioka's having a really bad year. And I like Higashioka, but he's having a really bad year. We just have to face up to it. He's calling a bad game. His defense has not been up to snuff. It went from very, very good, one of the better defensive catchers in the American League last year, to mediocre now this year. And he's not hitting at all. So there's really there is a weakness there, a backup catcher. But who do we have after him? I mean, you're not going to call up Josh Breaux yet. He's not ready. And Rord Vet has been a complete disaster of trade. So we are where we are with that. But yeah, it's not an issue with the day game after night.
Big issue is with me is that he needs to keep catching Cole. We're going right back to what it was last year. And even this year at the start, Cole struggled with Higgy. They put Trevino and he pitched well. Now Higgy's caught in the last 3 starts and he's been terrible. I mean, what more evidence do you need? Like, if we have a day off today, I'm sure Trevino would have been fine starting yesterday. And then you could have sat him against St. Louis. Like, you could. I'm not trying to downplay what the Cardinals are, but if you really wanted to give Trevino that extra day, just sit him in game 1. Have him catch Nestor. I don't think it really matters who Nestor pitches to because he's not a power guy. So you could have done that. But you need Trevino to catch Cole at this point because maybe it makes a difference. The fact that Cole needs to be switching catchers is ridiculous in its own right because you should be able to throw to whoever the hell you want, whoever is it out there. I mean, you're a freaking $36 million pitcher. He makes me stumble on my words. That's how annoyed I am with him because I know he's better than that. Everyone knows he's got. Yesterday was perfect example. 5 innings, you couldn't touch the guy, but that 1 inning, he looked like Keigawa, and it's brutal. It's not what you're supposed to be getting out of your $36 million number 1 pitcher, your ace. He's supposed to be your ace. He's your stopper. When you need a win, Garrett Cole's the guy.
He's not living up to his contract. He hasn't.
Not this year. Not this year.
Our ace is a bit of a diva, let's face it. And I really like Garrett Cole, and I'm a Garrett Cole fan, and I'll back him up. But he's a bit of a diva. Like, if the wind blows a certain way, he's going to complain about it and use it as an excuse. I'm getting kind of tired of it, especially for $36 million. You need to shut up and just get on with it, man. I'm really not quite sure what's going on with him this year, but he's disappointing me. And he's starting to deteriorate along with the rest of the team because this rest of the team has been struggling all summer.
Well, that's what makes the outings that he's been giving us that more concerning. It's not like we could look back at last year's playoffs and been like, well, we know in October he's gonna be lights out. He's going to have a couple of rough starts during the year, but we know that he'll be okay for October. We don't know that because look what Boston did to him. So it's not giving us any more confidence going into this postseason that Cole's going to be able to dial it up and deliver.
So, Rob, did you watch yesterday's episode where me and Tats debated the Monty trade? What's your thoughts on the Monty trade?
I don't know why everyone's in an uproar about losing Montgomery. First of all, I don't think the trade was necessarily a good one because you got an injured center fielder. But personally, I wouldn't have traded him for Bader. I would have still tried to move him because I really think that we were going to get Lopez. I think something fell through at the end. It seems like it because you don't trade a pitcher without thinking you're getting one in return. And credit to Simonetti because he actually had that way early in the day. He said that St. Louis was talking about Montgomery for Bader and that the Yankees were in on Rodon. So it seemed like maybe Rodon's asking price was a little too much for a guy that's basically a rental. And then they pivoted to Miami, but it was just too late in the process maybe. I don't know what happened there. There was talk about maybe Glaber going to Miami, but it was weird. Montgomery's a good middle of the rotation to back end guy. Like he's a 3 to 5. And he's not bad, but he also doesn't have stuff that you're going to want to put out there in October. Your number one, if he was second inning through sixth inning, Garrett Cole is your number one. And then you have Montas behind him. And then maybe a healthy Severino, depending on what we get from him in the final couple of weeks when he comes back. And then you have Nestor. Montgomery wasn't starting the game. Tyone ain't starting the game. And you're not going to really scare anybody by warming up Jordan Montgomery in the bullpen in the playoffs anyway. So I'm not that upset by losing him. I am a little bit puzzled why they traded him for a guy knowing he was injured without a guarantee that he's coming back. Because there's a freaking clause in the trade that if he's not ready, we get a player to be named later from a list that we can pick from one of those players. It's strange. I think with the pitching concerns that they should have held off on that because Tim Locastro is basically what they want Bader to be anyway. Locastro is not as good defensively, but he runs. So, I mean, I don't know. It was weird. I'm not upset like everybody else seems to be, but I'm not like applauding it. I know what it's for. It just he needs to be healthy for it to work.
Yeah, I mean, listen. This is an October move. This is quite simply an October move. Montgomery will have no role on this team in October. And there's a very good chance that Clark Schmidt gets called up in 2 weeks' time. And Clark Schmidt is exponentially a better arm than Jordan Montgomery. So we have that. We also have Domingo Germán, who can eat in a couple of innings here and there. And let's not forget Sevy is due back at some point in September. I'd say middle of September. So this is all with a plan towards October. When you think about those three arms that I just mentioned, what room did Montgomery have in September anyway? I mean, other than a couple of starts here and there. And I think obviously in the last minute when the Lopez deal fell through, I think Cashman felt, well, you know what? I'm still going to make this move because I've got three guys right now who can come in and do his job better than Montgomery. Because Montgomery has lost each of his last 6 starts. Now, he's not personally lost them, but every single start he's been involved in his last 6 starts, he's lost. So the Yankees have lost. So he's not done a very good job. He's not done a good job in about 2 months. So it's not really a loss for me. And I wanted the Yankees to find a way to get Clark Schmidt involved because I've been singing his praises all year. His curveball looks nasty. His off speed looks good. He's locating his pitches well. But the Yankees don't have a spot for him. They don't have a spot for him in the bullpen. And they've been stretching him out as a starter in AAA. So this is a perfect opportunity to give him an opportunity. And then next year, we've now freed off money for us to go and attack free agency or maybe get that Lopez trade put through in the offseason. There's a bunch of other opportunities. But the fact that we're even discussing a 5th starter I mean, Montgomery is a bad 3, good 5, in my opinion. So the fact that we're just even discussing a fifth starter is kind of it's kind of an insult to Brian Cashman, because Brian Cashman got us a number 2. He got us a number 2 pitcher in Montas. Yeah, there's no discussion about Montas now. It's all about Montgomery. Oh, how could they do that to Montgomery? Right? Give me a break. At the end of the day, Montas is not great to Montgomery, and that's the only thing that matters.
Here's the problem, and here's why a lot of the fans are feeling the way that they do. The best, one of the biggest sayings in baseball, especially nowadays, is you can never have too much pitching. They don't say you can never have too many center fielders. So you have Hicks. Judge can play center field. You got Bader, LeCastro. You can even put Benintendi in center field for all we know. But your pitching depth is very important. And I think that's what's getting people a little bit in.
Well, he's added 2 quality relievers.
No, the bullpen moves were solid.
Right. And then Zach Britton's due back as well. So the bullpen's going to be absolutely fine.
No, I think the bullpen's back on. I think our trust in the bullpen is back at 95% strength. Right.
And I've mentioned 3 guys that's going to take his spot in the starting rotation. So I'm not worried about our pitching. I'm really not. If the Yankees don't win a World Series, it's not because the Yankees traded Jordan Montgomery. It's because Garrett Cole isn't pitching well.
No, but we also have to cross our fingers that Montas isn't going to be another Sonny Gray from Oakland, which I don't think he will, but one of the guys I work with was very concerned about that.
Well, I mean, we can discuss Montas another time because we're running out of time, but Montas pitches better in Oakland than he does on the road. I'll agree with that. But Montas' stuff is legitimately ace caliber stuff. We've got ourselves an ace caliber pitcher. I don't think we should be worrying too much about Montas.
But what he brought up to me was, let's see him pitch for the Yankees before we anoint him as anything. Let's see how he carries that over to the Bronx, and I think that's fair.
Say that for anybody, though.
Yeah, you can say that for anybody.
Yeah.
That's not fair to Montas because everyone was clamoring to get him in the offseason.
Yep.
And then they were saying how much we need a pitcher. And Cashman went and got a pitcher. He got the second best available pitcher on the trade market. Like Castillo cost you 3 top 5 prospects. We gave up Waldachuk and J.P. Sears, who nobody knew who J.P. Sears was before the season. Nobody cared about J.P. Sears. Now he's a piece that you can't give up. This is what I don't like about fans who don't really take a look at the prospect, because they don't know these guys. Like Waldachuk rose up the ranks fast last year. Nobody knew who he was, and now it's like you can't move him. But you wanted a number 2. He got you the next best thing. Castillo was the guy to get, but you couldn't give up the prospects for him. I don't blame them. And you gave up very little compared to what Seattle gave up for Castillo to get Montas, who is very, very good. So, yeah, you wait and see what he does, but you can say that about anybody. At the
end of the day, if you use Montgomery as a fill-in to get Montas in that deal, I guarantee you every single fan would be like, that's a steal. What a great trade. What a fantastic trade. And by the way, let's not overlook Bader here. Matt Carpenter says he's the best center fielder in baseball from what he's seen. And so we're getting an unbelievably good defensive center fielder to come in. He's an exponential upgrade to Aaron Hicks, who can't play center field anymore. He's not a center fielder anymore. He can only play left field. And we've already got a left fielder in Benintendi. So there's a reason why we're doing these moves. It's not done in a vacuum. It's not done like, we'll just see how that goes. There's a reason why he's doing it. He's trying to improve our defense. And he's improved our starting pitching by getting Montas. I'm still calling this a win.
No, I think the trade deadline was a win. I graded it as an A. I think Cashman had a very good deadline. I think the team is better. But you can't dismiss, you can't just dismiss loyalty for, with the fans to a player. No, Monty was not going to, like I said yesterday, Monty was not the deciding factor of us winning or losing a World Series. But when you have a player that you have enjoyed watching and now he's gone, it just stings a little bit. That's all. But that is going to wrap things up for us today. Just remember, wear your pinstripes of pride and play hard.